framework of traditional Chinese medicine, both tinnitus, ear ringing, and even hearing loss and deafness typically can be caused by excess or deficient conditions. So this could be everything from pathogenic fire of the liver and gallbladder flaming upward, resulting in deafness, tinnitus with headaches, flushed face, bitter taste in the mouth, this kind of upward flaming of fire, where the excess in the liver causes irritability, anger, and is brought about by pathogenic heat disturbing the mind, usually a very forceful and wiry pulse. So even in the case of external contracted illnesses affecting the liver channel, so you can have different things affecting the liver channel, including viruses and bacteria. You can have ototoxic chemicals. Sometimes people even react to something as simple as aspirin, or certain types of antibiotics can also be a little bit toxic and cause this process to happen. And as well as anger, irritability, sudden emotion, fear and fright, truthfully. Sudden attack of fear, fright, and anger can literally bring this on. It can also happen from deficiency. So then we're looking at a kidney Qi deficiency situation where basically water is not nourishing wood. And we see that in this image here. Just bring that in where the kidney, the water element, is not nourishing the wood here. So you can also have that with a yin, shu, yang, kang. So the hyperactivity of yang rising upwards in through the Xiaoyang channels, because those channels go through the ear. So that's really what we're thinking about. Let's see if I can find a picture just overall. Well, here's one of the ears. So the Xiaoyang channels will wrap around here. Sanjiao, gallbladder will wrap around the ear. And then we're going to look at some very interesting points. You can see a couple of them depicted here on the screen, Gunping and Chuanzheng Zhu's, which are really, really helpful for people with Achilles tendon problems. The Achilles tendon ranks as probably the strongest and largest tendon in the human body. And big trouble, of course, if there's a problem with it. This tendon connects the aponeuroses of the gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris muscles to the calcaneus bone. So there's a lot of connection happening here between muscles and bone. And we see this problem occurring a lot in athletes, but also particularly in males, by the way. Men are more susceptible to this statistically than women. So let's take a look at this in detail. First, a few definitions, a little bit about it, and then we'll go from there. Let's see if I can bring up a picture of Achilles tendinopathy. There we go. And you can see two types. We'll talk about this a little bit. Here's this mid portion of the Achilles, which can have problems, tearing, strain, sprain, fraying, pain, nodules. And then here's what they call insertional tendinopathy, way down here at the bottom where the tendon inserts into the bone. Ear blockages with a headache, then you might want to think about triple burner 3, but it's part of the 2-point low-gen acute neck pain combination. It's also used for shoulder and pain, shoulder and elbow pain, things like that. So not uncommon for that. One of my absolute favorites, let's see if I can, there it is. Now this for me is very important, and no shortage of things to say about DO24. Now, Shenteng, DO24, is used a lot in the zone system of scalp acupuncture and the line system. And let me explain very briefly, because there's about 8 major types of scalp acupuncture. And Professor Ming-Ching Zhu, his head, brain, upper jowl zone, you see that in green. That whole zone is where you would needle for things affecting things like headache, cognitive function, things like that.
Smell the same too. Yeah, smell the same. So
Now,
it's good for like a high blood pressure, those kind of things.
now, some people say Chinese celery is a little stronger medicinal function. Would you say so?
I say so.
I say so
Yeah,
also.
but you know, because the American celery, they more things can eat. But this one, you see that is skinny and not much things can. But the flavor is stronger. For medicinal, will be probably stronger. But for eat, maybe not that, not that many. Yeah, same kind of. Just
So-
like kind of skinny. You're not like can eat that much. So usually people, like cut it, chop it, then like stir fry or things like that. But then we lose the function.
True. If we make a juice from it, we can treat hypertension.
Yeah.
But what would you mix it with to make it more flavorful for hypertension? What would you make it with? Carrot maybe also? Or
Make like a kind of juice or something. Fresh juice.
Fresh juice. Purple yam.
Purple yam, yeah. It's a high quality than any another yam for medicinal usage too.
DU16 was mentioned in a recent piece of research for restoring sense of taste and smell, and I found that intriguing. Again, this would be not as common as those points. Yet we use it. Again, this is one of those points you have to be very careful with. It's a point of Sea of Marrow point, it's a point of Window of Heaven point, it's a Sun So Miao Ghost point, and it's a meeting point of the governing vessel with the Yang Linking vessel. So, but its specific indications are, again, eliminating wind. So it's that eliminating toxin concept. Again, it nourishes the Sea of Marrow, benefits the head and neck, and calms the spirit. But we say from Taiyang illness, when the wind enters from the exterior, giving rise to like shivering, sweating, headaches, heaviness of the body, and aversion to cold, DU16 is classically indicated from the ancient text, the Essential Questions. So this is something that does come up. I find it's a very peaceful point. When I'm doing a face-down treatment for someone, again, this has to be done with very careful needling. I find because it's such a strong, calm spirit point, and there can be such tension at the back of the neck that, and it's so great for headaches, that it's wonderful because you're not only getting rid of that Taiyang stage, in Shanhang Lun, that initial attack, or the Wei stage in the Wei Qi Ying Shui in that 4 levels attack. You're getting at that with DU16, right? That initial stage, you're releasing it, but it also nourishes the brain, it pacifies wind, it's great for headaches, blurred vision, dizziness, problems with the eyes. But it says it's also good for all kinds of wind disease, including wind painful obstruction. So even pain around that part of the spine in particular. Psoriasis is a form of wind dryness. Now there can be heat and dampness and other things, but keep in mind we're going to go over the ointment, which is about 30% herbs to 70% of whatever you're mixing it into, in this case albaline and Vaseline. But you can also make a straight hair powder wash that you mix with water, warm water, and rinse the hair with, which is Sheng Shigao, Bai Zhe, Bai Shanpi, and Tu Fu Ling. That's one simple hair wash. It can also be used in other areas of the body to wash the body, or use as a powder, because it's a kind of a white powder and it's very simple to use. Now the ointment has Qing Dai. It stains everything, so keep that in mind. When you make the ointment, it's not the powder, which is basically a hair wash, something you could also wash under the arms, for example. Again, you can use it in the shower, but the ointment you're going to rub in. So Qing Dai, Ku Shen, Huang Qin, Dan Shen, Zi Chao. So that is your basic ointment. And again, Qing Dai is the primary ingredient at 18 grams. So this is a 5-to-1 concentrated powder. Basically, you order from your herbal supplier in a 5-to-1 concentrate. So again, we're going to use about 20 grams of the albuline, which is a mineral oil substance with a little paraffin, and then about 10% of that 20 grams is actually Vaseline. We're going to add that in too. You can see that there, the albuline and the Vaseline. Proper sciatica is very different. It's really a term that's getting tossed around for a whole lot of low back pain conditions and other types of what we call radiculopathies. But sciatic nerve is very particular to the course of the sciatic nerve, which largely runs over the gallbladder channel. So it's the Shuyang channel of the leg. Let's take a look over here, for example. Here's another picture of that channel, that nerve fiber. You can see that a whole lot of nerves at the very top feed it here, and then at the top there, and then it kind of groups into one large trunk. So it's a very powerful nerve trunk. And here's another view of that nerve trunk to really kind of take a look. Now here's the cauda equina in red, or you may pronounce it cauda equina, you know, all those hairs in the center, and then all these other nerves that then feed and group and then bunch into the sciatic nerve, which you see below. And here's another shot from where you can see a different imaging that we showed before, kind of get a feeling for it. And then sometimes there's other things that are in the same area that get confused with sciatica. For example, here, this is in red, you can see the piriformis muscle, and piriformis syndrome, when there's problems with this muscle being tight or pulling things out of place or pinching a nerve, can also cause problems. And still gallbladder 30 and other points might be useful, but that is slightly different. And you may want to needle sacral foramen points like bladder 31 and 32, and other local points and points that are slightly lower. And a lot of stretching and Tuina massage for piriformis syndrome as well.